guys, I am Shane Davis, the comic book veteran. I'm here to talk about Spider-Man and why Marvel thinks Spider-Man cannot be married. If you guys are great big Spider-Man fans like me, please look down below, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Now, this is coming from a Marvel editor, and Tom Brevoort, actually, going through the Screen Rant article, but basically, this is coming out of Baltimore Comic Con from months ago, and it shouldn't really be news to anybody because it's old news, and you can kind of see this. But Marvel says Spider-Man can't be married to Mary Jane. They can be together, but they can't be married. And I want to talk about as a fan. When I was a kid, I used to buy the Web of Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, and eventually Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. And Spider-Man basically was like one of Marvel's flagship books. They were able to put out Peter Parker Spider-Man in 4 titles every month and make a bunch of Spider-Man money. That was the thing. It was the top-selling character. It was getting ready to get an animated series, all of this stuff. Marvel would sell the rights to Sony, and that's going to maybe play a little bit of part into this. But I guess where I'm coming at it in this is when I came into Spider-Man reading, it basically was they were married. It wasn't really a big issue to me as a young reader. I'm talking like I'm like 12. Mary Jane was there. As long as she looked hot, it really didn't matter if they were married or together. It didn't really, what did it really have to do when Spider-Man swinging outside and beating the shit out of the Lizard or fighting Sandman or the Sinister Six? It really didn't matter to me if they were dating or married, because in the end, it's like, is he going to make it back to Mary Jane alive? Maybe as a kid, it just didn't resonate, but to me that she would be a widow or something like that, I don't know. It just didn't stick that way. Looking at it from the corporate side of things, I believe this is always going to be the case, that these two cannot be married. They cannot be together because of any future film, animation, video game franchise. Now, follow me on this. This is corporate greed at its worst. Because every time there's a new video game, they want as much mileage out of that video game. Maybe they get 3 video games out of it. Maybe it could be like the Batman Arkham games. They basically want to, keep the character kind of fresh and entry point for anybody who hasn't heard of Spider-Man again. I think this becomes more apparent with any type of live action thing where actors and actresses are aging, that they're always going to want to start off with Peter Parker being in high school and meeting Mary Jane or somewhere around that age point. So Marvel seems to have this idea when they did Brand New Day that they had to undo that marriage because it was just bad for fandom, bad for the movies. When a new Spider-Man movie's coming out, Mary Jane and Peter aren't married in it. Marvel Comics thought it was problematic that they were actually married in the comic book. Like somehow that was just going to jolt people that just walked out of the movie theater. It's actually idiotic because it's like you're basically pissing on one fandom for another. Now, again, I'm going to go back to when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I never knew Spider-Man and Mary Jane to not be married. And it wasn't ever like that important to me as a reader if they were not married. It was just that she was his love interest. Now, granted, there were not things like, kids involved. I'm sure that whole marriage dynamic becomes a lot different when there's if there's a kid. I mean, I guess this is like this point in time where everybody needs to, maybe if you're a comic book fan, look at Marvel and DC and be like, how invested are you guys in actually making good comics or keeping these properties in the best condition possible? I use that term loosely, the best condition possible for any new film franchise or relaunch. I mean, like we've seen 3 Spider-Man movies in at least my lifetime. Different actors come in a different universe, and we'll probably, with all the headaches they're having with the latest Spider-Man film and the post-production or whatever things going on there, we actually may be headed for another one fairly soon. So are these characters, the comic book characters, actually trapped in time to never progress in a relationship unless it's the Ultimate Universe or something? And you start to think about that. And you're like, is that a really big deal or it's not? To me, I never really had feelings one way or the other about Lois marrying Superman, but I guess it destroyed the love triangle of Clark Kent and Superman and his secret identity and Lois Lane's interest in Superman. That one I get. Spider-Man, though, like, I've just never seen the issue with it. Like, what's the big deal with him being married? Most of these comic characters don't really age until you throw a kid in there. And I don't mean they have to have a kid. Robin's a great example with Batman. Until you throw like a Robin in the mix with Batman, do they eventually age, like Dick Grayson becoming Nightwing, and then here comes, Jason Todd, and then Tim Drake, and you start stacking these Robins up and bringing dead ones back. It's like eventually they themselves form a timeline that then ages Bruce Wayne Batman. As far as Spider-Man goes, once you add a kid to the mix, yeah, it's then there's the clock. It starts aging the two. But them being married, not so much. I don't know. I've been thinking about this. There are some characters, they say that them being married compromises the superhero story. And again, I'm going to go right back to Superman and Clark Kent. His secret identity is a big part of that character, and Lois Lane being married to Clark/Superman, it kind of destroys the secret identity part, at least takes it away from the Lois Lane part. I'm not for or against it, but from being a Spider-Man fan, I'm just really lost in a way. And again, maybe I'm the generation that came in with them married, so that's why it perplexes me so much that the thing that I read as a kid that was selling gangbusters, by the way. The record number sales on Spider-Man during that era, especially when Todd McFarlane did his run on the Torment stuff, Spider-Man #1. These were million copies selling. They were married. Nobody cared. It wasn't the issue that people think it is. And I guess just hearing Tom Brevoort, of all people, a continuity guy, say this just really makes me feel like the comic people aren't running comics anymore, and that everybody needs to wake up. This is all about the brand and what Spider-Man can be in any other medium other than comics. I will leave on this one thing. When Stan Lee did do the marriage between Mary Jane and Peter Parker, it was a big issue and all that. I think it was the oversized issue. It was to manufacture a sales bump. You could argue, should they had ever been married to begin with? But I feel like, because probably like one of the highest selling Spider-Man moments in history, they were married and everybody was okay with it. I actually feel like that becomes the problem. There's a whole generation of Spider-Man fans, and the high watermark probably in comic sales as for Spider-Man, they were married and nobody cared. That I think that is the issue, that it just perplexes so many people and it becomes taboo. It becomes a topic when it probably shouldn't really be discussed that much. It shouldn't be a non-issue. But if you guys will hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notification. I don't know. I guess I was kind of going over this and processing what Tom Brevoort thinks. And you guys can leave me a note down below in the chat and let me know. Also, Shane Davis's Inglorious Rex, $256,000. If you like Godzilla, you love Rocky, you're absolutely going to love Inglorious Rex. Giant kaiju monsters, MMA, martial arts, a lot of great stuff over here. You even get our first toy, the Master Racer car over here. Please check it out. I'll leave you guys with a trailer for this smash hit comic and catch you guys again with another video.
Yeah, I ain't gon' lie to you. Truth always hurts worse. Doing good till first reverse, now you last. Blast of the past. It's cool though. Last card playing right. Uno. We never let up. Been down forever. Sick man, we fed up. Know that we tired. Wake up the beast that's been sleeping inside. It's time to ride. We ready to slide. Hard headed. I will not listen if you do not get it. That's your bag. Keep up in the sky like we see you feet up. Pedal Metal meets metal, it's no keeping up. Sniper division, it's no seeing us. This here is earned, ain't no hookups. So if you wanna eat,